it's Di from Being Mommy with Style, and today I want to talk about working full-time for 1 full year since I started my full-time job as a social media manager, and then through the middle of the year I became like the marketing lead, which just means I basically like help out the whole marketing team as a whole. But I wanted to talk about working full-time after being a stay-at-home mom, which now obviously I have a lot more kind of basis video on, kind of talk about some of the ups, some of the downs, and what my thoughts are on it. So if you're curious if I would do it all over again, what kind of drives me and all those sorts of things, I thought we would talk about that. So first of all, I really enjoy the job. I feel like if I was gonna go back to work full-time, like this is the type of job that, you know, would really kind of keep me interested, to be quite frank, to be doing it. And it is kind of what drew me to the job. It was very unique. It was social media related, which is obviously what I've already been doing here on YouTube. And, you know, I got into the company. The culture is like a big part of it. I really love the people I work with, and they've become friends, they've become family. And so I think that's really kind of a driving force of what keeps me, you know, really entertained and kind of a drive of keeping going, basically. So I think that finding a place where you can make it really feel like home is a big part of it, because obviously, you know, being gone during the day, it makes certain things harder, which we can kind of talk about. It's definitely harder to get everything done around the house that I do or used to do during the day. Cleaning takes a long time, so I obviously don't have that bulk of time that I used to have, which obviously you can have cleaning service come in and things like that, which is definitely an option I want to look into. I haven't set that up over here, but you guys know I've been, you know, open about it. We have had cleaning services in the past, so it's just a matter of when you move to a new area, you have to find who services the area and yada yada yada. Time is honestly my biggest issue now. So we're just lead into the excuses. Time is really tough because not necessarily time to get away to go to conferences and things like that, because I definitely wanted to find a job that I could still do my YouTube, which can we just give myself a little pat on the back. I've managed to work full-time for a year, and I'm still making YouTube videos a year later. I was concerned about that because obviously I love YouTube. I've been invested in YouTube for 6 years. It's been a big part of my life. I get an income from YouTube, but I just didn't really see it being my kind of like full-time only thing I was doing at home. I know that you can really do that as far as like YouTube and blog, but I don't know, I was really drawn to kind of being out, being with people. Both the kids are in school now, so I found a good fit to kind of be able to talk to adults throughout the day, which is really great, let me tell you. So it's a constant struggle with time though. Time is definitely the biggest struggle, working full time regardless of YouTube, but especially with YouTube added on top of it. Because like videos like this, I don't know if you guys have figured this out or have mentioned it here and there, I film the majority of my videos on the weekends. So everything that I used to do over the course of a week is now condensed down into 2 days, and some days, like this weekend, it's condensed down into 1. So I had a bunch of people over at our house yesterday, which was super fun, but I didn't feel like it was appropriate to film. I didn't really feel like I wanted to film it. So I took basically yesterday off filming, which means I have a week's worth of videos condensed down into 1 day, which is tough. It's really tough because it's basically like you're working a 6th day out of the week, but it's a choice obviously I've made, and I, you know, love doing YouTube, so I want to continue on doing that. So a lot of times if I'm filming things on 1 day or 2 days over the weekend, I'll actually change clothes. I'm not planning on doing that today. I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna be in the same outfit the whole time because that saves a little bit of time. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you change clothes between every single video and then you have to resituate everything because you mess up your hair and you mess up your makeup, it really takes, making 4 or 5 videos takes the bulk of the day up. And then the way I've gotten editing done for anyone that's thinking about going back to work, part-time, full-time, whatever, is I use luckily I had fallen into this routine of I filmed throughout the week, and then every night after I got the kids in bed, I was editing. And I did this even when I was a stay-at-home mom. I was editing at night after the kids were in bed. Just because I felt like when they were home, I wanted to spend as much time with them as possible. And even when you're filming along, you're still really kind of present when you're filming, but editing, you're not. Editing, your attention is basically focused on the computer. You're going forwards, you're going backwards in the video and cutting things out, arranging things. So I really honestly never edited when the kids were awake. I always edited at night. after the kids were in bed, which obviously my husband had to sacrifice a little bit on that, and we've talked about that in the past. But because I had fallen into that routine, that is what I continue to do now as well. So I just edit at night after the kids are in bed, and that works out fine. So I made it a year, and I'm planning on continuing on doing this indefinitely. I think that it works for right now for some of my personal goals as far as what I wanted to be kind of out in the world, working towards finding what I want to do long term, and then also just meeting people in the area and kind of feeling like I'm a part of something bigger than myself in a number of respects, not just the company that I work in, but also some of the philanthropy things that it does around the United States and also globally. You know, that's a big part of what I wanted to start investing myself in further and trying to figure out how to be a part of more philanthropy, you know, volunteering my time, volunteering my services. So that is kind of a goal for the future and trying to figure out how to have more of that in my life. But for right now, it's been a good kind of just soul searching time period and a really good company to be at because they really encourage investing in yourself and building yourself up, if that makes sense. And that's really what I needed right now. Because I think that anyone that's been a stay-at-home mom can kind of sympathize. I mean, yes, I had YouTube, which was a job. And yes, I had my social media and I built that up over time and it was really great. But being a stay-at-home mom is very isolating. And even when you have moms groups and you have, you know, kind of like your circle and like your, you know, like inner core group, it's very isolating because you're really by yourself the majority of the day. And you can get a lot done, but it's just isolating. That's the best way I know how to put it. And I think that a lot of stay-at-home moms can kind of sympathize with that. So then when the kids go to school, you kind of hit this T of like, do you go back to work? Do you go out and volunteer your time? Because you are around people when you do that. But the idea of volunteering, like being the full-time thing, and I'll kind of get into kind of some of my goals later on, because like volunteering my time or working in more of like a philanthropy type position, I think is like a long-term, you know, like full-time goal. But it can kind of be like different people each time you show up to volunteer, so you're not really like having that core group of people that you're learning and being around. So I really kind of craved, I guess you could say, having that kind of core group of people to kind of bounce ideas off of and be a part of that camaraderie. And so that's been a really great part of going back to work full time. So as far as our typical day, you know, I typically get up around 5:30, 6 o'clock, get up, get ready. We get the kids, you know, breakfast and everything. My husband leaves for work before I do. So I take the kids to school every day and he typically picks them up. The only kind of downside to working full time, because obviously they're off in school all day long. The whole hours, basically from the time I drop them off till their end of school day, I might as well be working because they're in school all day long. Everything that I need to do for YouTube, really the majority of it I can do on weekends and nighttime. So that's been really cool, that's worked out. Obviously you guys have kind of suffered because I can't do as many day in the life videos, but you know, it's kind of a trade-off because now I can, you know, kind of show different things. And I have some other goals for my social media, which maybe I will do that in a different video. But the only time that I really feel like is a sacrifice for our family, and I'm still kind of reconciling for myself, is after school care. I don't know, I have mixed feelings on it. And, you know, after school care, the after school care they're in here is better than what they were in last year. They do try to do projects with them and things like that. I really almost wish it could be more of like a camp where they were really doing a lot of enriching things. But let's be honest, like you're paying for basically babysitting for the 3 hours after they get out of school till someone can pick them up. So really that 3 hours of the day is, I feel like, our biggest family sacrifice, because obviously if I wasn't working, I would just go pick them up, bring them home. We usually would do some fun activity after school, you know, STEM, art, something. And so that is where I feel like our biggest sacrifice is. It's also a lot tougher to do meals because I used to start meal prep like at 4 or 4:30, and now I'm not home till 6. So meals have definitely changed. A lot of it still falls to me, but Dan does try to help a lot. But just, you know, the reality of is quick meals are a lot of the evenings. And then also, you know, crockpot is good, but the downside to being gone since like 7 o'clock in the morning is I found most things are getting burnt if I leave them in there that long. So crockpot almost, because it's like 7 a.m. till like 6:30 that it would be in the crock pot. So that's literally almost 12 hours, and most crock pot meals don't call for it that long. So kind of finding out what meals work, what meals just don't work during the week anymore. Like I cannot ever hardly make chicken enchiladas anymore because it took literally 2 hours to make those. And even if I make the chicken ahead of time, still make, you know, it takes an hour. So finding out like what works has been the biggest kind of, I guess, learning curve, and then kind of adjusting what we normally do, you know, around that. As far as, you know, I think the kids have adjusted fine. I think, again, like I said, the biggest sacrifice is that block of time after school when I normally would have been picking them up and doing some sort of an enriching activity. The school system that we're in now has like a special, like they call it like a after school kind of lab type of thing. So they do enriching activities, but it's just, I guess, also giving over that control of the activity as well. Penguins out there barking. So anyhow, it's going well. I'm enjoying it. So for the future, what do I see? I never know how to answer this question, to be honest, because, you know, everyone's always like, you know, where do you see your life in 5 years? Well, I don't know. If you look back at the past 5 years of our lives, I mean, we've literally been all over the place, like Illinois, Michigan, Illinois, down here. So I really just kind of see trying to grow as a person. And one of the things that we're working on at work right now is our why project. So I feel like after I have that why project done, I'll probably have a lot better idea of kind of what direction I want to keep pointing myself in towards the future. You know, I really feel like a big function in my life is helping people. That's why I started doing YouTube videos. That's why I still do YouTube videos. You know, you guys don't see the comments. If you're a regular subscriber watching this video right when it first comes out, you don't see kind of the extent of a video as it sits on YouTube and kind of the life cycle that it has in this, like, some videos you will do and they will have a really interesting impact. You know, something as simple as like a Pottery Barn backpack review, I will literally get comments on 4 years later with people saying, you know, thank you for doing this. I was struggling and trying to figure out this size versus this size, and this really helped me. So that's honestly a big part of what keeps me going with YouTube, is because I see the extent of that life cycle of the videos, and some of the biggest impact from my videos may not even happen the day after it airs. It may be 2-3 years down the road, and I may not even know what kind of impact it's gonna have. So that's kind of been the interesting thing of YouTube, and really a driving force with continuing that. Obviously Disney has been a big subject on our channel in the past, and, you know, countless people, I'll get emails, I'll get, you know, comments on old videos that are literally 3 or 4 years old saying, thank you so much for showing this. This has helped me plan my trip. So I feel like that's kind of like a big calling. I want to figure out how to help people, how I can, you know, help people in their journey, whether it be doing, you know, a Disney vacation, or whether it coming up with ideas to work on STEM at home, or whether it be figuring out how to adjust to going back to work full-time. I mean, that really is truly why I make videos. So I'm just figuring out how to translate that into my kind of full-time, day-to-day life. So, you know, that being said, I don't know what's in the future. I think it's always a big surprise for us. But, you know, we just try to have fun along the way. We will be planning on going to Disney at least once this year, if not more. I'll talk about it in a Disney video, but my husband has been asking questions about DVC and if it would start to make sense for us at some point. So, you know, who knows as far as that goes. Maybe a whole new set of things to talk about in videos. But right now we're just kind of really enjoying where we're at, and like, I really don't want to jinx myself, but I really hope that we can just like have a time period where we can just settle in and like just enjoy ourselves for a little while. Because if you think back to like how our life has been for the past, I don't know, 10 years, we really haven't had an opportunity to do that. So as silly as that sounds, that's really just kind of one of my main goals in life. As far as travels, we're really hoping to go on an Alaska cruise. Well, more than likely will not be Disney because it'll be a larger family group that's going. But we're hoping on going on a family Alaska cruise. I would love to do either a Halloween Disney cruise or a Star Wars Day at Sea cruise. Cruising is still very near and dear to my heart. So beaches was an amazing experience. I'm glad I had it, and I think I would like to go back there at some point with the kids and Dan. But for this immediate upcoming year, what I kind of see is probably at least one or more cruises. And then Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opens at the end of the year. So if not the end of 2019, we will be there at some point, I'm sure, to go see it. So that's all I really know as far as the future. But adjusting to being at work full time, I feel like it's gone fairly well. I mean, I feel like, we've figured it out over time, and the past year has gone pretty much as well as it could, especially with adding another move into it. But this move's been amazing. Like, this could be a whole nother video, but the kids are just so much happier. We found where we needed them to be. The school, there's so many amazing, neat things with them. They have such a strong base of support. Last year we saw the school struggling to try to raise money, like a few $1,000s or something ridiculously low, like $5,000 or something like that, for science kits. And it's like, you're like, this is desperately needed. It was just like a struggle. And then this year, amazing things, because they have so much support. Literally the first year fundraiser of the year, I think the school raised $45,000 or $50,000 to improve the playground. First fundraiser of the year. And that's like, the year's like not even a quarter over. So just a really great environment that we're in over here. I feel like there's a lot of support. And I feel like, there's, people you can ask questions to, and just more availability. So I do think that's kind of a downside of working full time, though, is I just do feel more out of the loop of what's going on in the day-to-day. But I feel good about the amount of communication that we get. We get a regular email, and there's Facebook groups that the teachers post pictures of what's going on in the classrooms. There's a parent Facebook group for like the whole school. So I feel like I have places I can ask questions when I have like a desperate question that I need answered or whatever. So that's all good. And I feel like I need that working full time, because otherwise I would have literally no clue what they did all day long. So other than what they tell me, which if you've met my children, you get pretty much every single nitty-gritty detail, but it's like said in their own little language. So it's quite amusing. But yeah, it's going good. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing for now. What the future holds, I don't know. I'm hoping I can do my why project, and it's kind of based on a huge book. So if why is an important thing for you, I feel like I almost need to like send this information out in the world because it's so amazing. But why is an important thing for you, I would highly recommend the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. We're doing a whole project based on this book, and it's been good just to kind of soul search what drives me as an individual, and kind of relate it back to like where I'm at. So it's been a neat project, and I'm looking forward to kind of hitting the completion point a month or two from now, and hopefully having a better idea of, how to direct myself going forwards. Because after you come out of being a stay-at-home mom for a while, if you're someone that has always kind of thought you would be working in some capacity, because for some people, you think you're going to be a stay-at-home mom like indefinitely, and that's totally cool. So I definitely don't want to downplay that decision, because that is absolutely a decision. But for the people that kind of went into it thinking it would be a temporary thing, and then figuring out how to come out of that period and how to transition yourself out of it, it really is kind of an awkward time period, because you're like, how do I translate my skills now? How has the world changed since I was in the work environment? How am I going to apply myself after having taken this quote-unquote break, which, by the way, it's not a break. So I do get asked on my old job, like going to work videos or whatever, how to put it on a resume and what will employers think. Okay, I conduct interviews now sometimes as a part of my job, and I sit in hiring meetings. And I'm telling you right now, being a stay-at-home mom is a job. And if a company is respectable, you can put that on your resume as a male, as a female, and say, I took off XYZ time and I was a stay-at-home parent and I attended to their needs. You can note that break on there. And if it is a respectable company, they will respect that. So don't be afraid to put that time on your resume, because it is a valid reason to take a break from the workforce. You're still doing your own kind of work when you are working at home. So I definitely want to validate that and tell you from a like hiring perspective. I do occasionally, you know, do interviews and sit in on the meetings and things like that through the hiring process. And there was one comment, I wish I knew the exact wording, but I don't think I could find it. Someone was really down on themselves. You know, they said, I've been a stay-at-home mom for like 5 years and I'm ready to go back to work, but I just don't know how to do it. And I totally get that, because it is like a huge, I don't want to put this on everyone, but I feel like being a stay-at-home mom really kind of knocked my confidence to a certain point, because you're not like kind of like out in society, and you know, you don't really know how you're going to fit back in. But I can tell you right now that a company that is going to respect you as an individual will absolutely take that time, and they will acknowledge that on your resume. So do not be afraid to put that. Also, the other thing is that if you have volunteer work, put that on your resume. Obviously for myself, I had the YouTube and the blog, which I do make an income off of, and made an income off of the whole time that I had it on there. So, put it on your resume, especially if you're having to pay taxes. It's a job. Put it on your resume. So anything like that that you can do. Scentsy, sell Scentsy, and it's something you can put on your resume if you're worried about that gap. So don't ever be afraid to just hop back in there. If that's what you feel like you're inclined to do, I say go for it, you know. Just make sure that your resume is tailored to the type of job that you're trying to apply for. So if it's a marketing job, so show all of your marketing experience. If it's a social media job, show all your social media experience. It's really that easy. That's the biggest kind of, and that's just not a stay-at-home mom thing. That's just across the board thing that I see now with resumes coming in, is people not tailoring the resume to show the experience extremely relevant to the job. But other than that, you're golden. I really want to help you all as much as possible. So if you have questions about transitioning from being a stay-at-home mom, going back to work, part-time, full-time, please let me know. I'd be happy to help. I am short on time. That is my one like downfall now, but I'm always happy to help. Leave me a comment down below. Email me at BeingMommywithStyle@gmail.com, and I would be happy to just give you my 2 cents however I can. So that's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions down below or comments. Be happy to answer those, and I will see you in another video very soon. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.